Alright, so these are just my first thoughts on the show because there's only like 2 episodes out at the time of filming this. And I gotta say, it's actually pretty good. Okay, so like if you're like a little baby or like you just didn't have any fun with your childhood, you may not know about the 90s X-Men. And if that's the case, I'm gonna be real with you, you might not care about this show. Like you might not care about the new version at all if you've never even heard of or cared or watched like the original. But for the rest of us who actually really like this show and grew up on it and were worried that this is just gonna be some kind of like major nostalgia baited cash grab from Disney, then let me tell you, it is very much a nostalgia baited cash grab, but it's a good one. And you can't really like blame Disney for that decision because like they've had the rights to the X-Men since like 2019 and they genuinely can't do anything else with them in the MCU. Mainly because the MCU is like way too deep in a world that doesn't have any mutants. And also they lost like their big bad that they were gonna use, Kang the Conqueror, so like they have to like revamp the entire universe. So they don't know what they're actually gonna do with this. Well, I think they're still figuring out how they're gonna try to present the X-Men in the MCU. But they still have an actual chance to use them in something else, like this project. The show picks off like right after the end of the original series where Charles Xavier dies and basically the entire team has to basically figure out how to move on without him. And so far the plot is genuinely solid. We have Scott and Jean having a baby, you got Sunspot getting added into the team, you have Magneto who's being shoehorned into working with the team, which creates a lot of conflict within itself. And there's also like really good cliffhangers to like every episode. So there's only 2 episodes at the moment of recording, but you know, they're pretty good like cliffhangers that make me want to actually watch the next episode. Oh yeah, and everyone in the universe is like still super racist to the mutants, which is like one of my favorite themes in like all of Marvel. It's not because I'm racist, I just love the themes and the message. I'm not a mutie hater. Don't. When it comes to like the entire presentation to the show, I'm like still super mixed on it because some of it's like super great to the point where it gives me goosebumps, and then others are just super jarring to the point where it takes me completely out of the show. One of the super goosebumps moments I've had was basically like when I first heard the intro. As soon as the show turns on, you hear the intro, you basically see the exact same intro from the original show, and I thought that it was gonna be like super different. I thought it was gonna basically like just be like an homage, like a rendition of the original, but it's exactly the original but with updated characters. So it basically has like the same exact animation, the same exact like poses and characters popping up, and like just that alone just had me like mesmerized, like oh my gosh, they're actually going all in on having that same 90s feel for the show. But I'm not like the biggest fan of like the actual old animation in like low frame rate because like it tries to mimic the old show, but it doesn't do it perfectly. And because it's not perfect, it's kind of out of place. And I can't blame them for that because our technology is just like way too good to make things look that authentically old. But like it still takes me out of it sometimes. But I still give them props even for just trying and attempting to do it. I still think that's super cool because they genuinely are committing to the bit. The most distracting thing for me was Storm though. And like for the longest reason, I didn't know why she was so distracting. Like for some reason, I didn't understand that why every single time I saw her, my brain had like this eerie feeling that something was very, very wrong. Until like by the end of the episode, I realized, oh, it's her mohawk. They changed her hair from like from the old show to like this now, which I don't have an actual problem with. It's comic accurate to the character. I've always liked her. Every time I see her with the mohawk, I think it's cool. But in this specific medium, it's jarring because I saw her in like one way with the long hair, the long luscious hair this entire time, and to see her with that little mohawk is just like a little jarring. Again, cool hairstyle, but I need to just get used to it. But despite her like distracting appearance, she's still like one of my favorite characters in the entire show. Like anytime she does anything, it's just an entire spectacle. She's just a super powerful character, just both in abilities and personality. Like she's just beautiful inside and out. And she's like the closest thing to a god in the show if we're not counting Daddy Magneto. I can listen to that man yap all day about his philosophy on human rights just because every time he speaks, he's absolutely cooking. And of course, I love like the entire rest of the cast of characters because, you know, besides Jean and Scott, all of them are like completely unhinged. I mean, like in the first few minutes of like the first episode, you see like Gambit try to casually blow up Scott as like a prank bro, and then also you see another prank of Morph come into this shot morphed as like Charles Xavier, who, let me remind you, Charles has been dead for months, so he just comes in trying to prank everyone like, haha, Scott, you're being too hard on everyone or whatever, which I just feel like is so distasteful. But even though it's distasteful and kind of insane, it still matches these characters very well of their predecessors. So like, I don't even have a complaint, because everything, like, it's again, like, these characters are perfectly they're like perfect continuations of their predecessors from the original show. And the action in the show is actually pretty cool too, because I feel like every single character has like their moments to shine in battle, even with like the most mundane attacks or just the most mundane actions. Like there's one scene where Cyclops is simply just like falling out of the sky or whatever, and it's so cool because he does it so gracefully. Like it looks like he's like falling with style, like Buzz Lightyear style, and he just saves himself from falling. Like it's a cool scene. I don't want to like go too much into it because I don't want to add a bunch of spoilers in here, but the action actually is pretty cool. Also, there's blood in this show, which just, you know, it's not like Invincible levels of like blood and like violence, but you know, it just shows that, you know, this is like more for like on the adult side. It's like, even though it's like it's a children's show at heart, it's for us. It's for the people who grew up on the show. It knows that most of its audience is basically grown up, so they take that to their advantage, but they don't like go way over the line, because again, at heart, this still is just a children's show. But even though it's a kid's show, it still fills me with like a variety of emotions. There's like this one section, like this one fight scene, action scene at the end of like episode 2 that like just had me like screaming, almost like crying, because something really bad happens to one of the really good characters. And again, I don't want to go into it. Like I said before, I don't want to go into spoilers in this video because of, again, we're only on like episode 2. I don't know if the show's found its full audience because I don't see too many people talking about it yet. But yeah, just watch it. It's actually like the show can get pretty emotional at times. And that's basically all I have to say about it, because again, there's only like 2 episodes out. I don't know if it's found its audience yet, and I think more people should watch it. I'm not hearing too many people talk about it, and I just want to throw out, maybe it's because you guys didn't know it was out. That kind of happens with these Disney Plus shows. It's out. Go and watch it. It's cool. This is a short video. Yeah, if you have already watched it, then, you know, comment down below and tell me what you thought about it. And yeah. Also, buy my book. The description is down below. And yeah, that's all. See ya.